From collecting oddities to hunting for treasure or expressing ourselves creatively, hobbies can be as unique and interesting as those that pursue them. My name's Christian Lemay, and welcome to this episode of Spotlight Features, where we're talking all about hobbies. Stick around. We're here in beautiful Hiawatha Highlands in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Our winter wonderland has arrived here in Algoma, and that means I get to play in the snow and have fun with all my favorite winter hobbies. We're going to be looking at hobbies from across the country, going from the west coast to the east coast. Up first, we're going to Nanaimo, BC, to look at one young gentleman who's been breathing life into typewriters that are well over 100 years old. Let's check it out.
When I started collecting, people were wondering why I bothered to pick these things up for pittance. I would go to the junk store with $50 in my pocket to come back with 3 machines that were in perfect condition with the instructions and the cleaning kit and the case and all their accessories, because at the time they were not worth anything. It isn't until the past few years that they went the way of vinyl. They became more popular. They found a new purpose in the modern era where it shifted from being an office necessity and an everyday item to an artistic and creative tool. Typewriters, I collect them, I repair them, I use them. I try to spread the word about how wonderful they are, because they are. As long as it's properly tuned and it's in good condition, a typewriter made in the 1920s will work now just as fine in the 2020s. That way they're almost like classic cars. They have personality, they have character. Each one resembles a mood, they resemble an ambiance. There were many, many different designs, colors, functionalities, options. You bought a typewriter based on your wallpaper at home or the dress you wore while using it, instead of just something that would be utilized for its very function. I did a count about 6-7 years ago of the collection I had back then, and I had 115 typewriters. My collection was really an accumulation at that point. It wasn't really a collection, a selection. So following that, I decided, okay, I'm gonna take my time on finding the machines I actually want and enjoy. And that took longer, and that means I have less now, but the collection I have now is way more refined than I had before. The typewriter I'm working on now is the typewriter that started my collecting. This was the machine that belonged to my grandfather. My mother remembers using this in the late 1960s, and I was given it in the 90s. I've had it my entire life. I repaired them because they're a fascinating technology. There's about 3,000 moving parts in a mechanical manual typewriter. A single clock spring operates that entire mechanism. There's no electricity, there's no external aids. It's one part that makes the whole machine move and the operator's action. The first commercially successful typewriter, the Scholes & Glidden Remington No. 1 from the 1870s. You won't be able to see what you're typing as you type. It sounds very weird, but that's the way it works. You have to lift the carriage as such and look underneath the carriage on the page to see what you are writing. So it's a blind writer in a sense. To think such a complex mechanism, which was designed without the aid of modern technology, and the simplicity in which it operates, is fascinating. They play a much bigger role than merely being a functional tool. They're a personalized object in a way. People relate to them. They're a mechanical extension of our ability to communicate, of our thoughts and our emotions. You have to get into the groove. I find that the first couple pages, my fingers are cold. After a while, you get into a rhythm. It's like music. There's a flow to it. You could put a metronome to it. And there's something very satisfying about that. You know, the sound of work being done, the sound of something mechanical. same keys that I'm using now were used 120 years ago by another person, and it's the same machine. The people are gone, the times are gone, the world has changed, but the typewriter is still there, and it's a connection to the past. It's a time capsule. It's a way to relate to the people that were before us, and I find that very fascinating. My name is Dirk Plant. I collect typewriters.
Sometimes all you need to find treasure are the right tools and knowing where to look. Up next, we head to Cranbrook, BC, where one man has a hobby of searching for trilobite fossils. What's a trilobite? Let's find out.
You never know what you're going to find. Kind of like treasure hunting. You're going to be the first one that splits that rock and sees what's been trapped in there for, in our case, almost 500 million years. My name is Chris New, and I've been collecting trilobites for over 30 years. When I was probably 5 or 6, my dad started taking the family out to the local trilobite beds. As a kid, I got introduced to it fairly young, and we did it for a few years as a family and whatnot, and then I kind of forgot about it for a few decades, in fact, until I had kids, and they were getting up to that age where I was looking for interesting things to do. So we started taking our kids out to the same fossil beds, and that just kind of reignited the whole thing that's now become a bit of almost an obsession. When I'm looking for fossils, typically where I start is the research on what the geology of the area is through past publications that might have been mining publications, these type of things that tell me about the type of rock, the age of rock, the formation. Then it's a matter of the digging and the exploring and the prospecting comes into play, and hoping to find what looks like promising, complete fossils. Oh, there we go. It takes quite an eye to see a fossil in the rock that isn't obvious, but you get an eye for these like ghostly images and whatnot that most people probably just overlook as nothing. So in the lab I have a variety of tools, air scribes that I'll use to take off bulk matrix, but the tool that I use a lot in the material around this area is basically a micro sandblaster. I probably would have quit the hobby many years ago had I not invested into the prep lab. It's really rewarding when you can expose that trilobite for the first time by yourself. For the last 20 years, my collecting partner and I have said, well, this might be the year that we finally don't discover something new. But every year we continue to find something new. It just keeps going and going, and we haven't scratched the surface of what's out there.
Being surrounded by all this natural beauty can really leave us at a loss for words. Up next, we head to Red Deer, Alberta, where a poet shows us how just the right combination of words can create so much emotion. Let's check it out.
There's so many things I like about it. I like that in a world where there's so much communication and so many different forms of communication, just a few small words arranged properly can say so much. And I like art as a form of social revolution. I like art as an explanation for the world around us, and I think poetry brings all that together. We are doing a wine pairing with a poetry reading. For me, poetry is a passageway from maybe the very obvious to something more metaphorical and something a little deeper that touches the heart of everybody. Some people call it your subconscious mind, some people call it a higher mind. And I think when we access those places in ourselves, it really connects us to the world around us and people around us. She was a motorcycle ride gone really right. Hair whipping off in her breezy free flow. So different, so the same. She was cracking good laughs, playing cards for hours, and simple pleasures. She was adventure aging into comfort and position. A surprise visitor, Not dismantling the master's house, but living in it. So different, so the same. She was a distant, cheery memory you get to visit again, fully grown.
The finer details are what make up the fabric of life. Our next hobbyist over in Saskatoon is no stranger to these finer details as he creates one-of-a-kind, unique action figures.
Creating is always something that I enjoyed, and it really pleases me when someone comes up with something that they want that I'd never even thought of doing, or they had given me a project that looked, if you looked at a picture of something and how complex it is, how much of a challenge it is to complete. What got me started was that I ran a martial arts school at one point, and so I've had a lot of students, my nephew being one of them. On one of my birthdays, we had a party, and he had gifted me with action figures that he made of myself and him in our martial arts gear. It was the most amazing gift that I'd ever seen. Now, I'm a Star Wars fan and a Marvel fan, so I'm a collector too as well. So once I seen that, I thought, hey, I can do this too. So I started from there. It was very therapeutic, as creating is always therapeutic. And I thought, hey, let's see what I can do with this. And I put it out online, and it went nuts. There's a lot of collectors out there that just love this stuff. There were a couple figures that I did of a friend of mine's sons who did a choreographed shoot, and I pretty much nailed their faces. The reactions from that, because he sent me the video of it, was mind-blowing.
What? What the? What? What? How? What? What? Can we play with them?
Everything that I do is exciting. So any project that I have that people give me, it's never something that I can't do. It's just the ways that I gotta look at it and map it out and see, okay, how am I gonna approach this? And go from there. So as challenging as it is, it's exciting the whole way through, and it's something that I do that's just, it's always fun.
In our busy world, nature has a way of grounding us and bringing us back to our roots. This next hobbyist has found a way to bring nature inside to foster a sense of happiness and positivity.
A terrarium is like a miniature ecosystem, usually made in a glass container. It's basically bringing the nature indoors and enclosing it in a way so that you can nurture it for a very long period of time. There are some terrariums out there which have lasted for years. It doesn't take up a lot of space, very easy to maintain, and most importantly, gives you immense happiness. My name is Adi Manik. I'm a scientist by profession, and making terrariums is like my passion, and I believe that's something I have had a chance to discover over the last year and a half. I've always been very fond of nature and plants in general. I grew up in India, in a region of India which is the western part, where we have the Western Ghats, which is one of the biodiversity hotspots of the world. During the whole COVID situation where things were in a lockdown, I actually got some time to think and reflect on all those ideas which I've had for years but just never had the time to execute them. I would say a lot of it was just improvisation, because I'm a researcher and I'm always wired to this probably is not going to work. Think ahead. What else can you do? And that's something that just have definitely helped me figure out how I can make sure that everything can settle in that little space and still look pretty. My theme always has been reduce, reuse, recycle. If I can just propagate the plants that I have, why not do that? Right here, what you can see is me making a little bit of a propagation station with 3 different varieties of pothos. You cut a clipping with the node, plop it in water, and then it starts rooting. I always thought I was a very patient person at work and not so patient at home. But making these terrariums has helped me regain that, and also being someone who deals with mental health issues, I have anxiety. So making terrariums has been a form of coping with anxiety and stress, especially during COVID, helped calm me down. It's something which it's almost like meditation, gives us a lot of happiness, and then because I'm thinking of a happy memory or a happy theme in my mind, and I'm trying to make a terrarium around that. That in itself, I would say, is a win for me, and that's something which I'm doing out of my own will and not because I have to do it. So that's where I would say I've really benefited. I did build a bit of following from across the world. My idea behind putting it on social media was that if somebody can see that, and if it gives them a smile on their face, just makes their day go by better. That's basically what I intended for. Sometimes when you're not in a happy place and someone's trying to shove some happy thoughts or happy ideas down your throat, you may not like it. So I always try and put my own personal experiences in terms of why I'm putting it, what I relate with it, and hope that somebody would like it. Spreading the happiness. There's enough negativity around us. I feel like plants is definitely one source of channeling your negativity in the right direction. You can take care of them, and then that's sort of like you feel like you're in charge of something where you channelize your thoughts and you see that it's surviving so happily. That's a very satisfying feeling. You feel accomplished.
When I'm thinking about skating, I'm usually thinking about skateboarding. But up next, we head to Winnipeg for a group of ladies called the Peg City Rollers, who take on a different kind of skating.
Roller skating is one of those exercises or hobbies, I guess you want to call it, that makes me feel free. When I put on my skates, all my issues that I had through the day are just melt away, roll away, I guess. Roller skating also, not just freedom, but it also helps me express who I am through my wheels. It helps me calm myself. It helps me work through frustrations.
I've been roller skating recently for a lot of physical reasons. It's a nice way to get outside and do physical activity, but still be in a really nice community surrounded by great people.
I have been roller skating since I was a kid because I am an 80s baby, and since then I've roller skated as an adult throughout my life.
If I fall, I think of it like, how do I overcome it? What did I do wrong? What was the problem? And what's the goal? What do I want to do? It's like problem solving to me. And also if you fall, it's not the end of the world. The only thing that hurts the most is the pride.
I find that everybody that's joined the group is just so encouraging. We're all helping each other out, and it's just a good time every single time we go out.
And as soon as I joined, it felt like I was home, welcomed to my people. Like we all have the same zest and enthusiasm for roller skating, for dressing up, for theme nights, for getting together, and for community. So that's what's really inspired the longevity of like actual commitment of coming 3 times a week, is this group of people.
I want this to just be a place where skaters can come and express themselves, where if anyone wanted to skate, they can just get a pair of skates and come join us. It's open, free, no discrimination of any sort, no problems. Just put on our skates, roll. If you want to learn new tricks, you can go and learn new tricks. If you don't want to, I mean, that's up to you, but it's a good time. We're here to have a good time.
As the lakes and rivers start to freeze up, Those that are into fishing are having to make the switch to ice fishing. Up next, we head to Dryden, Ontario, where 2 anglers are continuing their search for the elusive muskie.
I think it's the challenge and the excitement of it.
I don't know, I think it's really just kind of that rush of you go out and you never really know what's going to happen.
It's not an easy fish to catch, and then when you even see one, it's like an adrenaline rush, and like that part of it is, I think, like the addicting part.
I feel like it's like Christmas morning for some people. You finally get it in the net, you get the hooks out, and you just get to grab it, put her on the bump board, and take a picture with it. It's just so exciting.
Yes, girl. Oh, there we go. That was good. That was good.
Never seen them coming on here. Holy moly.
Oh, I see the scale. Come on.
There's the shakes.
There they are.
That's a good release.
There's definitely not as many females in muskie fishing sport, but it's on the rise, I would say, and that's great to see.
Lots of females are getting into it now. I think it's just kind of nice to get out and try it. I think, like Chelsea said, anybody can do it. You just gotta hopefully have the patience for it if you don't catch anything, and just keep trying.
One of our favorite things to do is pack good snacks, because we always joke that if we're not going to catch anything, at least we can eat good while we're in the boat. Maybe 2 summers ago we went out and Christina literally packed like a full supper for us. We had like potato salad and like ribs in the boat. So we enjoy ourselves even if we're not catching fish.
We just fish well in the boat together. It's always a good time, lots of laughs, lots of food. I thought we were gonna have to get out. Not bad.
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
One of my favorites is probably my first Eagle Lake muskie. I worked pretty hard for it. Still my biggest fish to date, a 46.
On opening weekend with my dad and my brother, we were out for Father's Day, and I caught a 50 and a half, so I caught my new personal best on Father's Day, which was pretty cool.
One of my other most memorable catches, though, is probably one of the fish in mine and Christina's tournament we fished in. We caught a 45, and that was pretty exciting. We knew we were gonna have an okay day at least once we got that one in the boat.
Like, we went in just looking for one fish, got 4 and took second, so that was pretty wild. That's definitely a top memory. I guess it's kind of a lifestyle for some people here for sure, right? I think if you grow up with it, it's really what you know and it's what you love for sure. I think there's lots of people here that love to do a lot of other things, but I honestly just feel lucky that I can get out any day possible to go fishing for sure.
What are you checking, buddy? Going with the trilogy? Yeah. Orange, black? Yeah. I mean, you just enjoy the day. You're outside, enjoying nature. You get that chance, it just adds all the excitement to the day. Oh, there we go. Oh my God.
Like, I plan my holidays around fishing a lot of the time. So once walleye opens, you go for walleye a little bit. You anticipate muskies for the whole time, and then once it opens, you just kind of hit it hard until the water freezes over and you can't go anymore. And then you just start the countdown until the next year.
Here in the Algoma region, we're lucky to have lots of beautiful natural landscapes around us. One artist from here in town creates beautiful art with micron pens out of these landscapes.
The thing that actually makes me want to go and draw is I find that I get into like a zone that is just kind of just peaceful, and I just like doing it. Like, the time just flies by and I don't even know where that time went. I couldn't really find like something that I really was passionate about And it wasn't until I found pens where I really just couldn't stop doing it. I just kept doing it and doing it, and I enjoyed it. These are kind of my main weapons, I guess. I've been using it for probably over a year, and over the time it's gotten finer and finer as there's less and less ink, but it creates a cool effect for it. Makes it super light for those light shadows and light tones, and it's I can't seem to find a replacement for it. I really like blacking things out. It's probably my favorite part. Lake Superior is a huge inspiration to my work, and whenever I draw things that remind people about Lake Superior, it's the thing that a lot of people around here connect with a lot. But I love also listening to other people's I guess stories and connections, why they find Lake Superior so special, and this whole area. Loving being outside, it just makes me feel alive, and I like that I'm able to show that onto paper.
Well, we've reached the end of our show. Thanks for spending time with us on this episode of Spotlight Features. If you would like to see more content from across the country or in your own community, head to shawspotlight.ca or find us on social media. We hope this has inspired you to spend some time on your own hobbies, and until then, we'll see you next time.